Yeah, awesome, cool. Hello, welcome to I'm Not Trying to Kill You. Today we are playing Scum and Villainy. It's our first episode. We're gonna make some characters. We're gonna make a ship. We're gonna do all that stuff. We're gonna find out who in the Procyon Sector we are friends with and who we are not friends with. It's gonna be a big time. I'm really hype. I'm the GM. This is my channel. I'm gonna be doing I'm gonna be Space. My name is Ash. I use she, her pronouns, and I have with me 4 lovely Spacezoids who I would love if they would do introductions. Just letting us know who you are, what your pronouns are, that sort of stuff. Starting with Cherry. Do you wanna start out, Cherry?
Sure. That was very dramatic, wasn't it? Sent forward, sorry. Hi, I'm Cherry. I am a accessibility advocate in video games and a speaker and a streamer. That's what I do. So there's one more thing.
You do all the things.
Yeah. And I use they, them pronouns, and I'm really happy to be here. Space is like basically my favorite special interest, so.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
Now I reached.
Yeah. Evie, how you going?
I'm good. Hi, everybody. I'm Evie. I use she, her.
Internet?
I'm a confirmed spaceoid.
You just cut out for a second there. You just cut out for a half second.
Oh, fantastic.
You cut out on pronouns.
Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. I have she, her pronouns. I am pretty psyched about this. I don't make games and have Patreon and all that sort of thing, but I highly encourage anyone who is interested in this whole gaming load of shenanigans to support the folks on screen with me, because they are all rad and will bring you amazing gaming times.
Awesome. And then we have Cammy. Good morning, Cammy.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm Cammy. I use she, her pronouns, and I didn't realize we were going to have Zoids in space. I have Zoids. I can bring Zoids.
Oh god, I had forgotten about Zoids completely. Yep. All right. Cool. And finally, DC. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm good. I'm DC. I use they, them pronouns, or he, him, whichever you're feeling at the time. And I design games. Currently working on a game called Mutants in the Night, which is
hype as fuck. I'm so good.
Not in space.
I mean, could it be though?
Technically.
It's a role-playing game. You can do whatever you like. I have friends who are currently playing a game of Blades in the Dark set on a medieval theme park on the moon, so...
Oh my gosh.
I'll say it's feasible.
It's possible. I just don't know if it's a good idea. Cool. Apparently it involves a lot of flirting, but I think that's just people that are associated with me just can't help themselves. Let's talk about the Procyon Sector, shall we? And
Cool.
get our understanding of what the deal is. So, Scum and Villainy is a sci-fi role-playing game. We're gonna do the spaceship thing. We play a group of technically like people who live on the border of legality. People who are questionably ethical at times. Who will hang out on a spaceship together and go and do adventures and jobs. If you've seen Star Wars, this is where we can be bounty hunters, or we can be smugglers, or, you know, we can be Han Solo, or Boba Fett, or all those sorts of things. Or even if we want to, we can be like rebels fighting against the hegemony. If you're familiar with Firefly, the Serenity sort of thing. Cowboy Bebop is another kind of another good touchstone. The theme song for this game, as listed by the book, is "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked" by Cage the Elephant. which
I've never heard it.
I love it. It's one of my favorite tracks, and yeah. Yeah, it's a good time. It's just that it's just definitely that thing of like, nah, we're going. Let's fucking go. But yeah, we're gonna go. The game is set. It's because it's based on Blades in the Dark. So if you're familiar with any other Blade systems, you'll feel a little familiar with this. Cherry has played In Which We Live and Breathe. So. That has some similarities. It's going to use that same dice pool system where we build up a pool of dice and then we roll them all and take the highest number. So it's based on Blades in the Dark, which means that it also means that it comes with this beautiful setting, the Procyon Sector. So the Procyon Sector is a section of galactic space that is ruled over by one specific governor. There is the hegemony, which is ruled by, I think, an emperor. I can't remember specifically, but we are out in the backwaters. It is made up of 3 stars, I think, 3 or 4. 4. The 4 stars of the Procyon Sector are Breck, Iota, Holt, and Rin. And yeah, this is definitely the part of the universe where people are like, "Oh, really? You going there? Have you taken protection?" It's that sort of like it's the level of scum and villainy in the Procyon Sector is quite high. So yeah, it's rich and bountiful for adventure and crimes. So. The way that I'm trying to remember, does this game want us to do characters before ships? I'm going to do the thing that I like doing with Blades Hacks, where we talk about what kind of ship we're going to be, and then DC, I see you. Thank you, love. We'll choose our ship. So we, as a group, we have a ship. That ship has a character sheet. We give it a name. It has a specific type. There are 3 different types of ship to choose from, and that determines like what kind of crew we are. And then I like to do that because that gives us a bit of context for our character creation, and then we can go through do our character creation and then come back and do the details on the ship. Does that sound like a good plan for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
cool.
Great. Awesome. All right. Crew creation. So the 3 different types of ships to choose from. So yeah, the ship is our collective entity. We have the 3 models that we can choose from are the Star Dancer. The Star Dancers it tends to be used by smugglers and blockade runners looking to do odd jobs, small thefts, find lost items, just the occasional small crimes. The Cerberus is for extraction specialists, people looking to find missing people or items and claim bounties. So it's a little bit more on the big guns side. And then there's the Fire Drake, rebels and criminals looking to protect the downtrodden and fight the hegemony. So yeah, that's the way I tend to put it in my head, is that the Star Dancer is very similar to like Firefly, or like the Serenity. The Cerberus is more like something like the Bebop in Cowboy Bebop. You don't reckon?
The Bebop in a Cowboy Bebop is a refitted fishing trawler.
Yeah, but they hunt people, right? Like
yes, as a crew.
As a crew type. Yeah. The Cerberus could be a refitted fishing trawler if we wanted to.
That's true.
We get to decide that stuff. And then the Fire Drake is you're being the rebels from Star Wars, right? Like you are being like, fuck the man, we're gonna do fights. So that's those are the three that we have. What speaks to people? What are people curious about? About like what kinds of stories do they want to tell?
I you know what I did with the last game we played, where I put in like a whole bunch of mystery that I kind of want to do something like that, but with the ship. There's an Alasdair Reynolds book that's very space opera-y, and the ship that the character is on is just like one character, so it's not like really, there's no crew, but it's kind of a ship that they come into, and it's like half alien tech. And there's like a lot of sealed off parts of the ship that she can't get to and stuff. So I wouldn't mind doing something like that, where it's like half alien or something, like we're not really sure.
I feel like that's definitely some stuff that we can get from any of these, because that's based on our choices for like the later details. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. Like, this is sci-fi that has aliens, that has Xenos, as they're called in the rules. They tend to be humanoid. The reason that humans are the dominant force in the galaxy is that there were, before any other spacefaring races, a long time ago. We know that there was a spacefaring civilization that we call the precursors, or the And the reason that humans are everywhere is that humans apparently seem to be very similar in like build to whoever they were, so we can use a bunch of their technology really, really easily. And the less humanoid you are, the more frustrating and annoying it is to use technology and use jump gates and things. You know,
I love it.
We know that there are like civilizations of like giant whale people. But like if they have ships, they're too big to go through jump gates. It's real tricky. So yeah,
very Mass Effect, isn't it?
So that's the explanation for why everyone is just people with like bumpy foreheads. But yeah, we can definitely like have a ship that might have components, or it might have Xeno components and things like that, and we can choose to play Xenos if we want to as well.
Cool.
I did want to. Sorry, TC.
I'm thinking if we're going along that line, the first thing that comes to mind is Star Dancer. Because if we had like a unique ship, it would be really easy to transition that into like getting special relics or items that are like of Xeno culture and stuff like that. Maybe our ship even can find those things a little easier than other things can, or something like that.
Like,
we find this stuff, we throw it off.
Here's an idea. Like the ship is taking, like half the time the ship's taking us and we don't actually have a choice. And like, what's going on.
I mean, if you put that on the table, I'm going to fuck with you with that.
Yeah,
like,
really?
I just love
the ship has decided we should go into the sun.
Oh, God.
The ship is going to Isengard.
Yeah, no, but definitely. Star Dancer lets you play in that. It's the least fighty of them, right? It's the one where it's a lot more about like, you know, going and solving space mysteries, or you know, trying not to get spotted with while you've got such and such on board that is illegal, and all those sorts of things. It's the one that takes the role of like being the like always on the back foot, and just kind of is like, why would we ever want to be on the front foot? Why would we ever want to be like at like going after our goals when we could always be like trying not to die? So yeah, how do people feel about Star Dancer? Cammy, do you have a feeling?
I do like the Cerberus because it has a grappling arm from the start, and I like grappling arms.
That's true.
For us now. But we can always get a grappling arm for the Star Dancer.
That's true. You can always do upgrades.
And the character ideas I have fit with this narrative that you're already building, of having either smuggling things that we're not like things we don't understand, or having them to begin with. Yeah,
being like kind of like having an interest in like trade or smuggling of alien and or antiquities and all those sorts of things, and being this sounds very cool. I'm already on board.
Yeah.
Rad. All right. Well, if we know that's what our crew is, smugglers, blockade runners, looking to do odd jobs, small thefts, and find lost items, let's put together the crew of our Star Dancer. You should all have a character sheet there. Yep, I have assigned them correctly. Good job, Ash. Well done. So let's go through character creation. First step is that everyone's gonna choose a playbook. So your playbook is is kind of like your class in a lot of other systems. It's basically has all of you get to choose which special rules you use, and no one else gets to use. And among them for this one, there are for this game, the playbooks are. Do I have like a really nice small list? Here we go. Mechanic. You can play a mechanic if you want to make new devices, keep your ship in good shape, or hack systems. You can be muscle. Muscles are good at winning fights. Play a muscle if you want to be unstoppable in combat. Mystics. Mystics are good at dealing with the way, which is there's spooky force stuff in this game. It's called the way. And so mystics are kind of people who are the closest thing you can be to being a Jedi. Play one if you want to use artifacts and weird powers. The were very connected to the way, so a lot of stuff is way related.
I think. Sorry, I just want to ask. The way I read it too, like it's not necessarily magic, but it can also be like being kind of keyed into, like other unseen forces too, right?
Midichlorians.
Yeah, right. Which isn't magic
Why,
at all.
Ash, why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, 100%. It might be that the way is that thing of like the interconnectedness of all things, and so it relies on your intuition, and so you might be using your intuition to connect to the way and be like, what's going to happen in like the future? I don't know, whatever, do magic stuff, but you might also use it to be like, just read someone's face really well, right? Like
you might just be Dirk Gently in space. Why not?
It's so good. So good. There are pilots. Play a pilot if you want to be a daredevil at the wheel and widely traveled. There are scoundrels. Scoundrels love getting into and out of trouble. Play a scoundrel if you want to press your luck. Speakers. Play a speaker if you want to be the respectable one and use connections to get your way. And Stitch. Play a Stitch to deal with science, patch people up, and be the crew's moral compass. I feel like that
be
last
a Stitch
one
without a moral compass.
I feel like the Stitch has like a lot on their shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Like patch up people's bodies and souls.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I was first like drifting towards that, and then I was like, hang on. I don't know if I have me right now.
I mean, you can be a Stitch and just be like, "Yep, no, we kill people. That's fine," right? Like,
they're bad people. It's not a problem.
you can be a spinning moral compass if you want to be.
It's
can't,
the
though.
way you want to
That's
go.
I can't though. There's too much.
Yeah. What's the line from? There's the line from Firefly where it's like, the Bible does say things about killing. It is less specific about kneecaps.
Kneecaps, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, did people have like things where they were like, no, I want to be this. Give me this playbook.
I do actually, even though I said that about Stitch. I would really love to be the pilot.
Cool. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like the way, again, this is the thing with like Blades and Dark and things, like the way that that each playbook choice will change up the kind of fiction that we're telling. So pilot, if we have a pilot on the crew, then we will have more space fights and things like that because there's a pilot. If we have a mystic, then there's gonna be more weird
Insert gif of Ash as the tech wizard here.
Yeah, there's gonna be more of that
Also,
stuff, right?
I did see that the playbook for pilot does say that the skills do translate to like piloting land creatures.
Yes,
Or
yep.
like cars. Or
Yeah,
bikes or
exactly.
whatever.
Yep.
Land
But we have
creatures.
But we have a ship, and if we have a pilot, why not have space fights?
For sure.
That's true. This is a space opera. It's
yeah,
not
exactly.
a space opera without space fights.
Yep. Cool. Who else has got feelings?
I
I've
would
got
like
you.
to play. Sorry, DC.
No, go ahead.
I would like to play either a
I'm
mystic.
really feeling the muscle.
Is that so?
Evie's having some internet troubles.
I would like to play the mystic or the
Sorry.
mechanic, so I'll fill a gap.
Yeah, cool. Evie, you said you were feeling the muscle?
I am, yeah. I'd like to be a hardcore space lady.
How does that feel with you, DC?
Oh, that's good.
What do you?
I would like to be a scoundrel. So
yeah,
Nice.
you would.
Mhm.
living my normal life out in space.
I was gonna say, I've played enough with you now to be like, oh yes, DC is the scoundrel, of course.
Yes.
That sounds like a good time. Oh, so Kemi, what do you feel? Mechanic or mystic?
I feel like a mechanic will hold everything together better than my version of.
Especially if we don't have a Stitch, right? Like we need someone playing the like Stitches don't Stitches and mechanics are both capable of sometimes fixing the situations we get into.
I think I would like to use the cybernetics rules so I could be a little bit medic-y as well.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. So there are rules in the game for Xenos. One of the suggestions for like drifting the rules a little bit, because by default, the setting kind of restricts cybernetics. But I feel like that's not a story that I'm not interested in playing a version of this game where cybernetics are very restricted, especially because of the effect that has. And yeah, I was talking to Strash about this. Yeah, like what in space, what does disability look like if you don't have access to any kind of cybernetics? Like what do we call a cybernetic that isn't yeah, so that's a really important thing to me. The other thing that I wanted to bring in as far as that discussion is I want to just hard port in hard limits from In Which We Live and Breathe. Yeah, because I just want to have that, because all that does is give us an XP trigger to be like, hey, sometimes it's hard if, right? I have PTSD, like it's like my character has PTSD and can't deal with this situation right now. I'm going to sit it out, right? Like I'm going to play that out in character because that makes sense for my story, but I would like the XP reward for doing that. Thank you. So that's what we'll do is we'll just tack on in the XP questions at the end of the session. Get XP if you also showed up your hard limits. But yeah, so as far as if you want to be a person who has cybernetics that do cool stuff, then you can be a person who has prosthetics which will act in place of any part of your body if you want to. But if you want to have a cybernetic, then you use the Xeno that does something cool and extra, right? Like your robot hand shoots out like a grappling hook, right? Then you use the Xeno rules for that. So that is.
There you go, Cammy. You've got your grappling hook.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Rad.
all cool. I just wanted to check in about that. Cool. So
I actually, what was the first thing I noticed? Obviously, that there's a lack of disability, like most tabletop. It's like I noticed that they tried really hard to cover mental health.
Yeah,
and they did really well in that respect. But like physical limitations are not mentioned except for injuries, which can be cured.
Yeah,
and so
this is the thing with tabletop role-playing games, in that they come from a place of power fantasy. A lot of the time, and so they're when they're being written from that perspective, they often don't incorporate that into design. And this is what we play games to. We play games and we mod them as we go, right? Like every GM ends up being a game designer because we negotiate the space for our table. So that's cool. If everyone's got their playbook, so with these playbooks you can do a cool thing where on the character sheet where it says playbook in big letters, you should be able to just type the name of your playbook and it should fill out a bunch of stuff for you.
Oh wow, that's neat.
Isn't it cool?
So I did that. I did do that before we even started, and it didn't do it for me.
Oh, interesting.
Same here. I just filled out a bunch of stuff.
Okay, sure. That's weird. Has it did that for you, Evie?
Mine hasn't filled in any like
Oh, okay. Maybe it's in the
Any
top
of the
right. Oh, there's a
things.
little gear up the top. Maybe that's what it is.
I'm getting a bizarre little thing that keeps coming up with
That was me.
mechanic
I was
into it. Oh,
I
that's
was
you.
pressing your character sheet. Sorry.
Hash.
I think if you
I did that. I did that too, and it didn't do it.
So if you click add abilities if you select the drop down for your thing and then for your playbook and then click add abilities, add friends and contacts, and add items, it should fill out those.
Okay. You have to click those manually. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks.
Cool. All right.
I have a lot of UI that's like overlapping, so it's a little bit hard to read.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it still hasn't auto-filled my skills. Is it supposed to do that?
I think we might have to do that ourselves.
Okay.
The way that this sheet has changed since I used it last. So once we've all got our character playbooks, we choose our starting ability. So each playbook has a unique. All playbooks have a unique starting ability. You may choose instead to start with the Xeno ability. So that's where you just be like, "This is the cool thing that I do because I'm an alien," or "This is the cool thing that I do because I have a cybernetic," right? Or you can use the ones for your playbook. So I'm looking at because going along with it's got starting builds. That's really helpful. So yeah, you have starting ability for the muscle is unstoppable. You can push yourself to like perform feats of physical force, etc. The pilot has a starting ability which is called Ace Pilot. You have potency. Come on, Ash. On all speed related rolls, and then you get extra dice when rolling to resist consequences of piloting. Scoundrel gets the cool starting ability with you get serendipitous. You start with an extra gambit every time, so that's cool. Gambits are things we can just basically spend to get extra dice on a roll. Just be like, yes, we've been very daring, so now I get extra dice because I'm cool. And what mechanic gets tinker when you work on a clock with rig or hack, or when you study a schematic, fill in plus an extra segment. That's nice. Good for building things. So, is anyone taking a Xeno or cybernetic ability? Yeah, cool. Do we have feelings about what those might look like?
I have a question.
Yes.
We create our own Xeno abilities, is what I'm seeing here, right?
Yep. The Xeno abilities are where you describe the fictional thing that you can do, and then you just spend, I think, 2 stress to use a Xeno ability, and you just be like, so basically, if you are if you're a person who can just exude slime and raw, then anytime that you want to do that, you just pay 2 stress. Blah, slime, right? Real cool Xeno ability. Big fan.
Amazing.
I think it's 0 to 2 stress based on the fiction of your character.
Right.
So
okay. Yeah.
The example of the sea people is the 0 stress ability is like detecting things via electromagnetic sense, like a shark. The 2 stress ability is holding your breath in space because you're good at holding your breath.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So similarly, if you're doing the cybernetic, your cybernetic might be able to be used in multiple different ways, and that might stress you more or less. Okay. So it's the same as flashbacks. I appreciate this. I appreciate help with rules and things because I have read through the book, but not enough to have everything sink in. So yeah.
Yeah, so the Xeno ability is something, that's how I read it too, is that as it comes up, kind of, as long as it makes sense with the character you've built.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep, cool. So yeah, you can just be like, I have the ability that is my specific, I have the, if you want to be, you just fictionally describe what kind of Xeno you are, or what kind of cybernetic you have, and then we work on it. We work it out from there later on.
Cool.
I think that, well, I definitely want to be a Xeno, but I don't think that I want to have a Xeno ability.
Yep. No, that's definitely a thing you can do.
Cool. I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, you just be like, I am vaguely humanoid. I have the forehead bumps, right? Like, or whatever your appearance is. Cool. So what have people picked?
So under the mechanic rule set, there's fine ship repair tools. And vision enhancing goggles. I was wondering if my Xeno ability can be, those are part of my cybernetics.
Yeah, if they're part of you. So I think that makes sense. Yep, because it's a stress cast. Yep. Cool.
But the kind of bigger that's just offsetting the load for a stress if I need.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me. Cool. All right. Well, if we've all chosen our starting abilities, so you've got mechanics tools and cybernetic mechanics tools and cybernetic goggles. Cherry?
Here's where I get weird. I'm
so on board.
I am a kind of creature with tentacles that is not much bigger than a hummingbird, that also has grown up migrating like a hummingbird. But in order to exist in like this part of the universe, I use a pressure suit that makes me vaguely humanoid. And my species doesn't have any genders, has like so many genders, like you can't really translate it into like human. But for whatever reason, they chose a feminine pressure suit. I think maybe because it was the only one they could get hold of.
Yeah.
And so like they pilot the ship cybernetically, but so they have a Xeno ability, but they can also do things like, as well as be a really fast, really skilled pilot, because that's how they got here and they helped get their clave here, that they can get themselves, but only themselves, out of danger really, really fast and go vast distances, but like just themselves because they're really small. So basically they'll vacate their pressure suit and like the pressure suit can like be called back.
Yeah, right. So yeah, bailing from your pressure suit is 100%.
And leaving my friends behind.
Yep. Great. Cool. But
also, I think the hard limit, I just want to say, I may not always have full control of it.
Right. Okay. So sometimes you just.
But it might be a response. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Make sure you note that in your notes.
Amazing.
Cool. Awesome. Evie?
I have the starting ability Unstoppable.
It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. I get to like lift a car if I need to, perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman. So that's pretty rad. Now, am I meant to pick some more of these special abilities right now?
So once what we're going to do is and have a look at the special abilities, because once we've all got a starting ability, we all choose one special ability as well.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, mine allows me to push myself to do something that is physically
cool,
unheard of.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Just be like, fuck this, flip a car.
Yeah. Yup.
Awesome. DC.
I have the starting ability Serendipitous. Your crew starts with +1 gambit when the pool resets.
That's real nice.
Yeah, I'm sort of leaning back and forth on making a Xeno ability.
Yeah.
I have to think more about.
I'm happy for you to like switch that out. Like if you decide like by the end of the first session or whatever that you're like, no, actually I want to switch this out. That's fine. I don't mind you doing that.
Cool.
So after that we do special abilities. So yeah, everyone gets to look at their special abilities and pick one straight off the bat. And there's lots of cool things, lots of shinies. And I'm just gonna have a look at. And then once we've done that, we do heritage and backgrounds. So I'm gonna read through the heritage and background things while people are looking at special abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So the heritages available are Imperial. So those are from Warren or the Core Worlds. They're educated, you know, in the ways of the hegemony. You've done your upstanding and proper, and maybe noble, even. Or there's spacers who are, you know, ice miners or station mechanics or merchants. They are the people who live out their lives in space. Whether that's on ships or stations and those sorts of things. And then there's colonists, who are the kind of the opposite of spacers. They are farmers and miners and terraformers. They're the good, hardworking folk of the hegemony, going out and making all of these new worlds be livable and nice and good. There's manufactured. There are the manufactured. So manufactured families, quote-unquote families, are fundamentally controlled in some way by the guilds. For example, a Yaru clone who's escaped from a facility, or an Urbot that's avoided routine memory wipes. You may often have to hide your origins or independence. So yeah, you can just be like, oh yeah, I'm an Urbot or a Yaru clone if you want to be. You can be a wanderer, which is, you know, just going about from place to place without ever having a home for yourself. Just see where the way takes you. Or you can be a Xeno. And there are countless different kinds of Xenos. You can be hummingbird person. You can be giant squid. You can be Spock.
You didn't tell me I could be a giant squid.
I mean, like, this is the thing, right? It really creates that space for you to be like, I'm going to be this kind of thing. But yeah, Xenos are minorities in a primarily human culture. And then the other thing we choose is our background. So you might be academic, you know, professors, students, researchers, etc. You might be from a labor background, factory workers, drivers, miners, tradespersons, which is like most people in the hegemony. You might be from a cult, whether that's an officially sanctioned cult or a different one. You might be a priest or just really, really, really believe. Guilders are people who are involved in guilds, like ship designers, financial analysts, logistics officers. You might have a military background, so that's soldiers, mercenaries, spies, training instructors, etc. You might have a noble background, being part of the aristocracy of space, or you might have a syndicate background, part of an organized criminal gang. Whether that's being like, you know, part of like a family and having a high-ranking criminal thing, or just being like a pickpocket on the streets. How people feeling about their special abilities? Have we got choices?
I have a question kind of for the group. So if we're going with this like smuggling type ship, does that imply that we are trying to do like sneaky work? Are we trying to stay below the radar, or is that not what we're going for?
We could smuggle through sleight of hand and distraction. So we're so flashy that no one notices we're illegal robots.
I'm just looking at a lot of the muscle stuff, which is like you're very scary, or you have a reputation, or those sorts of things. But if we're trying to like keep it sneaky, then maybe that's not going to be something that
I mean,
would
you could.
get much
I mean,
out of.
like you can do those things and still sneak when needed, right?
Mhm.
Like, just because you've got a reputation doesn't necessarily mean that you have a reputation amongst law enforcement.
I
Right,
noticed
like-
the book is very specific about telling you that you can do anything that is possible within the book, no matter what your character is.
Okay.
It's just you have like surplus dice in some
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then I think I'm going to take scary. You have an
Nice.
air of menace,
Oh no.
obvious to even the most unobservant. You gain potency when trying to intimidate someone. If done immediately after a show of force, also take +1.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
excellent. Cool.
You could do that from the shadows. You could like snipe someone and be like, "Now don't move."
That's
Yeah.
so true.
Yep.
All right, I'm down. I'm down with this
Yep.
a
You
lot.
just have to put on your
Cool.
Batman voice.
Oh God. Okay, I'll try.
No, just this joke. You're not required to put Batman voice on. You're welcome to.
Sure, but you know that I also really like silly voices, or maybe you don't know this, but I love character voices and NPC
Yeah,
voices.
it's a good time. Cool.
Silly person.
Anyone else got feelings about their special ability? Their first special ability?
I am going to pick Fixed, which says you may expend your special armor to resist a consequence from machines breaking or being damaged, or push yourself when you're repairing or building a machine, which essentially means when I fix something, it stays fixed.
Nice.
That's
I like
good.
it.
It's great.
Sounds excellent. Cool. Cherry, do you know your special ability?
Yeah, I'm gonna choose exceed specs, and the way I'm working that into my fiction, because that's my favorite thing, is so exceed specs, for anyone that hasn't read it, is while on board a ship you may damage a ship system you have access to, so it's not just our ship, it's any ship, in order to gain +1d or +1 effect to a roll. And I think I access that anytime via my cybernetics in my pressure suit.
That's really cool. I like it.
As long as there's obviously some way to interface, like I can't just like magic that out of thin air. But
Yep. DC, any feels?
I picked Never Tell Me the Odds.
Yeah.
Nice.
How can you not?
So I generate gambits on desperate rolls, and I may also generate gambits even if I spent a gambit.
Nice. That's impressive. Cool.
Figure that will be very helpful to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone have feelings about their heritage or their background?
What page are you on, Ash?
Heritage and backgrounds are on. I have misplaced them. Give me a second. Heritage is on page. I can't see the page number because this is all squished up. Give me a second. Cammy's face is going to go weird for a second. 68. There you go.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
68. Oh, the in like on the PDF in the page number in the corner is 58 and 59, but it's like 10 pages in the PDF that's ahead of that.
I have my heritage and background figured out.
Excellent. What are you doing, DC?
Definitely a Xeno.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not played Mass Effect, but there's a character that everybody likes a lot that looks really cool, and he has the like tentacle hair thing going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that's what my character looks like.
Yep.
Is he like Kit Fisto from Star Wars? I haven't played Mass Effect, but
kind of, but on a smaller scale.
okay.
Yep. Cool.
And
I'm a fan.
I think that he worked for a syndicate for a long time, just because growing up, it was the easiest way to manage getting food, money, place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So crimes, I think that the crimes weren't like majorly violent or anything. It was probably like, hey, go pilot the ship and take these people where they need to go. And that would be like, sometimes these people are going to go fight, or sometimes these people are going to go find a thing or be bounty hunters. It's
Doing a lot of gopher work.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
like
like
it.
take this little junk ship and
Go and drop this message off to this person. You know,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. Cool. I love it. Awesome. So you can. So your DC, your playbook will tell you to put some dots into some things. It'll give you. It'll tell you to put 2 dots into one thing and one dot into another, and then you get to add 4 more to bring your total to 7 dots. So none of them can ever be higher than 2. But yeah, you put 1 dot into something into an action that you feel reflects your character's heritage. 1 dot that goes in that you feel reflects your character's background, and then 2 more wherever the fuck you like. And that everyone can do that. But yeah, I want to hear about other people's heritages and backgrounds if they know.
I think my heritage is going to be manufactured. So I'm a Yaru clone.
Yes.
Who the book says Yaru clones are supposedly short-lived and supposedly not very sentient. And so perhaps that's not very true.
We'll find out.
Cool.
And I'm not sure if I want to be have the background of a cult, but a machine cult, or just be a guilder. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because
where the distinction lies.
Do the Yaru count as a guild or as a? They're a guild, aren't they?
They're part of the Makers Guild.
Yeah. Okay. So that's So if you were, so like guilder would be the default, and then cult would be if you were like part of a cult within that. Which like 100% might be like, no, we're a cult that believes we're real people. Like that's 100% a thing. Cherry?
So I'm Zeno, obviously. And my background. So I think I kind of like the idea of my race being very new to the sector.
Mm-hmm.
And that we were the first ship to really get here. We were a pretty big ship, but like we were like a clave of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's kind of like a guilder, but we're a very new guild because we're just like a new race to the area.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense.
And I was one of the many pilots, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like it. Awesome. So were you one of the like people that was like piloting the big like clave ship here?
Yeah.
And it like because I have this image in my head of like dozens of pilots all lined up running this one huge ship.
Yeah, and kind of roles kind of come and go and change, and that we're very long lived, and we don't we kind of like hibernate in cycles like hummingbirds, and we can kind of we can hibernate at will, so we don't need like stasis or anything. So I don't know if anyone knows, but I'm a huge bird nerd, and hummingbirds can when they need to, like when they're migrating, like if it gets really cold at night wherever they're migrating from, they can at will temporarily shut down their system to almost dead.
Wow.
So birds can do this, so it's like a kind of like temporary hibernation that they'll do overnight while the temperature drops down, and then they'll kind of like basically come back to life in the morning. So kind of like that, but I'm more like a squid, but also a hummingbird.
Birds are cool, friends.
Birds are cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, work out what your dots for what your dots are. And then we can.
So my sheet is a little bit scrambled. So
Cherry, as a pilot, let me help you out here. As a pilot, you get 2 dots in helm.
Yep.
And 1 dot in rig, and then you get to choose 4 more dots, 1 for your 1 for your heritage, 1 for your background, and 2 wherever you like.
So 2 dots in helm and 1 dot in what, sorry?
In rig?
Rig. And we don't mark those, we just put that there's only 3.
There's 3 dots there that you could put them in, yeah.
But I mean, there's only 3 slots. And then there's like categories. Is that right?
Oh, the dots in this are the little triangles.
Oh my god, I can barely see that on my
yeah,
monitor.
that's really.
Like
I
that.
hadn't noticed how dark they are.
Mm.
Yeah. Right. Cool. I will.
It might
give...
be because this monitor's very contrasty. So
Yeah. Right. But yeah. So.
now okay, I'm good now. Thanks.
For those of you who haven't played a Blades hack before, Insight, Prowess, and Resolve are your 3 attributes, I think is the technical term. And so the number of dots you have in any of those is how many of the the actions within that have any dots in them at all. So if you have 1 dot in Attune and 2 dots in Sway, then you have 2 dots in Resolve. If you have and that is used for resisting consequences. So when I say you fall on a spike and you die, and you say I don't want to fall on a spike and die, we roll. You say how you avoid falling on a spike and dying, and then roll Insight, Prowess, or Resolve based on which one applies for the way that you're not having that happen. So often that'll just reduce the damage or change the outcome, and sometimes it'll just be like, nope, that didn't happen at all. So that might help you. For instance, so if you've got lots of dots in just the first column and not many that are advanced, you're better at resisting consequences, but you're probably going to have to face more consequences because you're not as skilled at any specific thing. So that's kind of how that balances out. So yeah, you've got 2 in Helm, Cherry, and 1 in Rig. So you get to pick 1 more for your. You get to pick 1 for your heritage, 1 for your background, and then 2 more wherever you like.
Okay, so 4 dots in total.
Yeah, you should have 7 at the end of everything. Evie, do you have feelings about background and stuff?
I do. I kind of want. It's pretty tropey, but I kind of like. I like a trope. So I think that I want to be like former military, which I think falls under Imperial, probably.
I mean, there is military as a background, but as a heritage.
Oh, is it?
So military is military is a background, but yeah.
Oh, cool! I see that. Okay, cool.
But yeah, you can any one of the heritages could be military.
Neat. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I think maybe I want to go with Imperial then, because that gives us some interesting kind of knowledge of, core worlds and stuff like that I think could be kind of interesting. So I think that my character was doing quite well in her military career, was like really sort of climbing through the ranks and developing a really great reputation as an impressive soldier, but found that there were some orders that she couldn't follow, and that now she is kind of disgraced from the military and has had to find her fortunes elsewhere.
Yeah. Yep. Classic. I love it. Cool. So yeah, chuck some dots around for that. Cool. Yeah, and if you're Imperial, the question that I'm interested in then is, are you from the Procyon sector originally, or are you from further in, closer, like actually from another sector ruled by a different part of the hegemony?
Oh, neat. Okay. I'm not really sure how it all works by way of like political and military situation, but so yeah, I think she probably was from, what do they call it? The Empire.
Yeah, the hegemony is the name of the
I think
whole
that
thing.
I can internet. Cool. Okay, right.
Yeah.
I think she's probably stayed fairly close to home up to this point. So I think that she's from this area and has, probably come from a military family and sort of followed in those footsteps.
Yeah.
And is maybe not having the easiest time with the fact that that's not her life anymore.
Yeah, cool. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I think Warren is the main world that, like, yeah. Let me find it. I'll read to you about Warren because it might
Yeah,
Give you a
cool.
bit of a so Warren is one of the Rin planets of the Rin system. It's a moon. It's one of the moons of Aleph, and it is the home to an ecumenopolis, a city spanning the entire surface of the moon. It's the
wow.
capital. It's the capital of the entire of the Rin system. I think it might be. Yeah, and Governor Ritam Al Maclaith. So the governor lives there. So
cool.
it's the like. If you're from a local military family, you would probably be from Warren, but you probably might have been sent out to some other parts of the during your military career. You would have visited other parts of the sector on deployment.
Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, chuck some dots down,
I'm gonna throw some dots down.
and then we can do. Where are we up to? We do friends and rivals. So your character sheet, your buttons for in the thing should have put some characters in the like list for friends and rivals. So you mark one who is a close friend, ally, family member, or lover. The upward pointing triangle for we like them, and then you give someone a down pointing triangle for someone who is a rival, an enemy, a scorned lover, a betrayed partner. For that for the yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, what we might do is we might take a break now because we're about on time, and we can have a look and think about our contacts, so our friend and our rivals, and also I'm just going to read through the vice section real quick because you can also have a think about your vice while you're at it. So vice is the thing that you do to relieve stress from being a galaxy adventurer. Everyone has one. It's the thing that like, so stress is a thing that you build up through play. It's a resource that you expend. If you get too much stress, you freak out and get a trauma. So if you get enough traumas, you die.
Okay.
So that's how that system works. So or you just like decide to walk off and never join and like not rejoin the crew, right? Like it's just you leave after a certain amount of trauma. So the options for vice are faith, part of a cult, or observe specific ceremonies at regular intervals. Gambling, games of chance, betting on things. Luxury, seeking getting fancy things, nice things that cost a lot of money. Obligation, you've got like a family or a cause or an organization or a charity that you're devoted to. Pleasure, you seek hedonistic gratification from lovers, food, drinks, drugs, art, etc. Stupor, you dull your senses with drug abuse, excessive drinking, fighting to exhaustion, etc. Or weird, you perform strange experiments, explore the way, commune with artifacts, etc. as a way of relieving stress. So yeah, have a think about. We'll come back and we'll finish off our characters and then we can do the details on our ship. So we'll be back in a mission in a minute.
Cool.